What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Jedi Jive. My name is Mike. Joining us again is my sister Jenny.
Hey, guys.
Got another Secret Invasion reaction coming at you.
Yeah.
Last week's first episode was an excellent start. It was definitely a setup episode, if there ever was one. There was a little bit of an unexpected ending with Maria Hill.
Yeah, I'm still reeling from that.
I mean, it's good because they've raised the stakes immediately, which immediately gives you that sense of like, oh my god, okay, so like human toll is going to be a thing. And there wasn't necessarily much comedy, if at all. So It seems like they've set a tone of like, this is pretty serious. This is some serious
I'm
shit
actually
we're about to
really
get
enjoying
into.
the sort of espionage Cold War feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a big fan of The Americans. And I think this has sort of some similar themes. Like in The Americans, the idea is that anybody could be a spy. Your next door neighbor could be a spy. And here, anybody could be a Skrull.
Yeah.
And I think there's some of the same emotional stakes too. There's going to be this tension between, for Gaia's character especially, this tension between the mission and personal allegiances being tested. So I'm enjoying those themes so far, and I'm hoping to see more of that.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, I'm excited to jump in, and we're going to watch the episode, and then we'll discuss it afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Back in the 90s again. I was just
So
gonna
tell me
say,
what you want. What
it
you really,
looks
really
like
want.
London.
Yeah,
You got double-decker buses.
Thank you, Fury. I'd like you to meet someone. This is Gravik.
Ooh.
Oh, they have a history.
Sorry to hear about your parents.
They died a brilliant death.
I want to thank you all for joining me. This man, I trust. You know I don't use that word lightly.
While you work to keep my home safe, Carol Danvers and I will find you a new one. Who'll be first to take the pledge? Thank you, Soren. You have a courageous mother, Gaia. You keep your word, I'll keep mine.
Okay, so he doesn't keep his word from Gravik's perspective.
Right.
Doesn't find them a new home.
Obviously, the blip is the big problem there. Like, the priorities shifted, things got in the way, but that's, from his youthful perspective, that's the case.
Чем могу вам помочь?
Мы ищем одного человека. Чернокожий американец. Видели у кого-нибудь похожего?
Чернокожий, американец. В поезде Москва-Варшава. Здесь больше шансов встретить инопланетянина.
Wah-wah.
They've gone.
Nice.
Well, me and my mama used to take these long train rides to Detroit. Coming out of Alabama, we always had to ride in the color car. On these long rides, me and my mother would make up games, pass the time. One time she said,
Tell me something I don't know about you and Susie.
so I made up something crazy.
Me and Susie saw a bullfrog with polka dots.
Even though I'd lied through my teeth, the mere fact that I did that told her everything she needed to know.
Tell me something I don't know about the destruction of Skrullos. Tell me something I don't know about the Skrulls that fled. They're here.
Who's here?
All of us.
Wait. There's 1 million Skrulls walking amongst us right now? Have you lost your reptilian-ass mind?
Cab drivers.
You lied to me. I could let my people be annihilated or summon them here to Earth. What would you have done? The host gets to set the terms of the visitation. What happens when the host disappears? Huh? Because you were gone. And you know what? Even when you did come back, there was no talking to you about anything real.
You knew how to get in touch with me, Talos, and you didn't because you didn't want me to know. With your help, Skrulls and humans can coexist here on Earth. Humans can't coexist with each other, Talos. There is not enough room or tolerance on this planet for another species. Matter of fact, neither is this train compartment. I think this is your stop. Oh my God.
I'm assuming that's Maria Hill's mother.
I'm kind of assuming the same. That is Juliet Stevenson. She's a revered British actor, so this character is going to be somebody.
How did it happen?
Happened quickly.
Don't you be one of those bastards who gives me a platitude when I'm looking for the truth. He told me that my nation owes me a debt of gratitude, but he won't even tell me where on planet Earth my daughter was killed. So apparently facts are not included in the debt I'm owed.
Yeesh.
She died in Moscow. Someone set a trap.
For her?
Well, for me. Someone wanted to hurt me, so they hurt her.
So you're the reason I'm taking my daughter back home in a box.
I'm sorry I couldn't protect her, Elizabeth.
You're Nick Fury. Maria believed in you. She would have followed you to the gates of hell and back. I don't know what Maria died for out there, whatever it was. Don't let it be for nothing.
Just in case you need any more weight on you there. Yeah. Have a little bit more there, Fury.
Exploded today at an annual celebration in Moscow, killing at least 2,000 civilians.
Well, I call bull on that. There's no way that Moscow attack was committed by Americans. This is
Christopher McDonald.
Christopher McDonald, yeah. Shooter McGavin.
Anyone flinching at the thought of innocent deaths, let me assure you, we're only hastening the inevitable.
That's a fancy piece of mental gymnastics.
Put your faith in me, and I promise your loyalty will be repaid.
We need a single commander whose war power is total and unchecked.
My God.
Therefore, I nominate Gravik to the post of Skrull General.
You were in on this with him the entire time.
Sit yourself down, Sergio. I'm not done yet.
Who do you think you're talking to? I can mobilize 1 million troops at the snap of a...
Gotta remove him, madame.
Oh, I don't think he'll be any more trouble. All those in favor of Gravik as our new general will submit.
Is that how democracy works for Skrulls?
I do not support your coup. I will not support your war.
You're probably gonna die now.
Yeah. Sorry, lady.
You go in peace, sister. You'll not be harmed.
Real. I'd be walking out of that room backwards.
It's Gravik. The council just voted him general. He has control of our people and our future.
Set up the mate. Just tell him I want to talk about my daughter.
Is she already
I was
distrusting
gonna
of
say,
Gravik?
he seems like sneaking.
You don't have it.
Harvest wasn't there.
It's back to scavenging.
Harvest of what?
Yeah, what are they working on?
Rhodes.
Nice suit. Armani.
Brioni.
Government salary.
Yeah, well, my other suit's made of titanium, so this actually constitutes considerable savings. Tell you what, let me just finish mopping up this globe-sized bucket of steaming hot caca you tipped over yesterday morning, and we can get a drink. That sound good?
What's the matter? Croatia talking crap?
Slovakia.
Carpet bomb there.
A carpet.
1 o'clock. You not only set the stage for World War III, but you simultaneously flipped all of our allies to Team Russia.
What if I told you they were all spies?
Spies for who? The Russians?
9-state actors, you know, global abuse, borderless operations.
Hydra?
Yeah, if Hydra was a bunch of green guys who could shapeshift into your daddy. That invasion is real. It's happened.
That's not possible.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but it's true. We're being invaded and we can't even tell who the invaders are. This is my war, Brody. I need you to back me on this.
Is that it?
We owe each other. Men who look like us don't get promoted because of who our daddies know.
I'm gonna escort you outside, then you're going to the airport.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I had travel plans.
And you want me to make the power mean something by helping a brother out. The reason we wrestled this power from mediocre men who don't look like us was not simply to turn around and hand it to mediocre men who do. To be able to sit across from a man with whom we share an entire professional, personal, ancestral history with, and to tell him without any reservation that he's fired.
Oh, shit.
Dang.
Yeah, he can be begging for his help in a minute.
Is it you to fire me?
Nobody sent me. I volunteered.
Wow.
You earned all this smoke, brother.
Yo. The way he strokes the brim of his cap.
Even when I'm out, I'm in.
How badly did you want him to say mother? Right there, I'm Nick Fury, mother. Classic Samuel L. Jackson.
He really isn't doing well, though.
Yeah.
Groot?
What are you doing in there?
Checking the progress of our newest recruit. He'll be ready for a face before long.
You're wasting your time. I'll never talk to you.
Well, that's very brave. But everyone talks when their blood starts to cook at 160 degrees centigrade. The smart ones start talking earlier than that.
Okay.
Put it on my arm. I don't care.
In the base of your spine, that'll be a little bit quicker. Oh, crap.
I need to know where Gravik is and where he'll be.
He's building a machine.
What kind of machine?
I think it's to make us stronger.
Oh, Super Skrull. He's making Super Skrull.
Keep the engine
Or he's
running.
making himself into Super Skrull. That's what that is.
And that's why they're trying to harvest DNA, presumably from all of those hybrid creatures that she was looking at the list of.
Dalton! The name's Dalton.
Oh, you see, that wasn't so terribly difficult, was it?
Yo!
Ooh.
How very Dostoevsky.
Take him to the car.
Dude's sinister as hell.
So he can kill his own man, giving away information.
Did we make it home, Peyton?
Almost there, bro.
Gonna shoot him in the head and leave him in the woods. Bam, bam, bam. Shots.
Aren't you forgetting something?
Better?
Almost.
Bro,
Got a Skrull
he's married to a Skrull?
wife? Well, that's a revelation.
Okay.
That complicates things.
Yeah. But also, like, when... Damn it, miss! Okay. So, like...
Well, that ending threw me for a loop.
Yeah, you're like, wait, what? He's married to a Skrull?
I mean, he's married, full stop. But then, like,
But also, who's that skin? What's that? Who's that skin?
Yeah,
She's
whose
just choosing
skin is
to
that
be?
she's
Or is
wearing?
that, like, Fury's somebody that he knew? Or is... Could be anything, because she walks in and you're thinking, okay, this is just some Skrull lady that's, like, you know, housing him or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait a minute. No, this is actually Fury's, like, house.
A lot of really deep thematic stuff going on this episode. There were sort of two main points that I noticed. The first thing was that this ongoing exploration of othering.
Mm-hmm.
So there was the scene, you know, like in 1997 when Nick Fury convinces all the Skrulls to take human faces. And my immediate thought about that was like, ooh, that's a little problematic. I kept thinking of like the gay population in the 1950s having to hide who they were, you know, just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And this is asking an entire oppressed population to hide who they are just to survive. On the other hand, he really wants to help them. He really wants them to survive. He's promising to find them a new homeland at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's othering them by asking them sort of to assimilate. And so there was that going on. And then in that train car scene, there was that whole story about his mother, which was really charming in a lot of ways. It was a really sort of touching speech he gave about like the fried chicken and the games that he would play with his mother.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also this undercurrent of the fact that they had to ride in the all-black train car. So this is a man who grew up under Jim Crow,
Mm-hmm.
who knows what it's like to be othered, who knows what it's like, you know, to live in a world that doesn't want you.
Yeah.
And that in a way gives him a powerful motivation to want to help the Skrulls, but it also it's really ironic that he's now being their enemy. Like they have so much in common, but they can't recognize that.
Yeah.
You know,
there are so many different layers of loyalty, and like the scene with Rhodey.
Yeah.
Like
also explored some of those same themes.
Yeah. The fact that he tried to appeal to him as like, oh,
as
you know,
fellow
brother,
black man.
African American, and even there's still like a question on the loyalty, and Rhodey's loyalties or where his responsibilities lie with his job with the government and his towards the president. He has accountability and responsibility too, so he can't just be like, I'm black, so you and I get to like have this camaraderie with each other. I have to do my job. And
they talk about having had to fight for their positions to make it past mediocre white men.
Mm-hmm.
But then Rhodey says,
and I'm reminded of Elijah Bradley.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Completely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely exploring that same storyline. But, you know, Rhodey then basically accuses him of being the mediocre one. And I think what's really interesting is that we're left wondering if Nick Fury has become maybe a little mediocre. It's up in the air right now. He's walking with a limp. He's teasing when he comes out of that meeting with Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
He's the worse for wear, sort of emotionally as well as physically.
Mm-hmm. Gravik
is he up
called
to the
him
job?
Vapors is what
yeah. Like, is he actually up to the job, or is the job better left to someone like Sonya, who is clearly very competent at what she does?
She's essentially like the Russian counterpart to Fury, kind of, right? Yeah. And which is also interesting because it's like, okay, like as usual, the USA and Russia hate each other because they're the USA and Russia, but they're both humans, and then there's this third, you know, alien party, the Skrulls, who are so like Russia and the US both have a similar interest in like stopping an alien invasion.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, there's this like bombing, and the Skrulls are in and there's all the political mess of like the, you know, it's not public knowledge that there's just aliens living among us. Like, only guys like Rhodey and Nick Fury and the Skrulls know this information. So it's very... And meanwhile, Rhodey and Fury can't even be on the same page. Yeah. So it's just very, like, Fury has nowhere to turn. Even the people that are loyal to him can't be loyal in the way he wants them to be. Yeah. Like, so yeah. And now this episode ending with this, like, sudden revelation that Nick Fury's actually got a Skrull wife. He puts his literal wedding ring back on, so it's like, okay, no, they're actually, that's his wife. And she's a Skrull. Yeah.
There was another sort of underlying theme this episode, which is, I think, how much extremism does warp one's perspective. I kept thinking, wow, like, irony is really lost on Gravik, because they were destroyed by the Kree. Mm-hmm. Their civilization, their planet, their population was destroyed by the Kree. And now he's determined effectively the same thing for the humans. And he's done this impressive piece of mental gymnastics. Like, well, they were all killing each other already. I'm not doing anything they weren't doing to themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's fine.
Which I was like, it's almost kind of like, it's not Thanos philosophy, but it's like along the same lines of just
it definitely takes something that starts as a good argument. It starts as a, like, he says the thing about how dogs don't tear each other to pieces and lock each other in cages and destroy their own environment. And you start thinking like, oh, wow, yeah, humans are kind of bad. But then, like, genocide is never the answer, little buddy. Mm-hmm. That's never the answer.
Yeah.
And he's gone straight from, like, humans are kind of fucked up to genocide.
Yeah.
And he wants to do the same thing effectively that the Kree did to them. And it doesn't seem to click with him that that's what's going on. The same thing's in play when he takes it, like you observed, he takes his own guy out in the woods and shoots him without a hint of sympathy for what that dude just went through.
Yeah.
So there's just no mercy. There's no space for empathy.
They're very clearly depicting him, as you've used the word correctly, sociopathic. And in every single scene of him, he's almost just sort of lying back.
Yeah.
Doesn't even really seem that energetic about what he's doing. He's just doing it like...
But I think it's like he's a true extremist. He can only see with, like, a singular vision this mission. He almost sort of thinks he's on some sort of messianic mission at this point, and it's everything. And the thing is that everybody around him is not necessarily that much of an extremist. There are people who will follow him just because they'll follow him. But then you've already got Gaia kind of peeking behind the scenes and trying to figure out what's going on with Dr. Dalton. And she was looking up on the computer, what's Dr. Dalton up to? And we saw that list of hybrid creatures, some of whom we know, like Groot and Cull Obsidian, are probably people whose powers they're trying to harness.
This is definitely leading up to Super Skrull, and I think it must be Gravik's. This is essentially leading up to Gravik becoming Super Skrull. He's going to be a Skrull with those additional powers, those additional insane. So that's going to make him pretty much unstoppable, because then he'll be the sociopathic, warlord that also has all this extra power. So
Gaia's clearly already having some doubts, and enough to go snooping. So she's somebody who's redeemable.
Yes, which we kind of knew. That was telegraphed at the start.
Yeah.
And we had mentioned in the last episode that they had that seed that was, the Soren is dead.
Right, but
like her memory is there. Yeah. And Gaia's gonna have to.
It's a big on the nose metaphor. That plant that she planted that Talos says has changed and adapted to the environment. So the plant has assimilated.
Yeah.
In a way, and like learned to live on Earth.
Yeah, and in that scene where he was convincing the Skrulls, like, he made them the promise, which Gravik is like, he didn't keep that promise. But when Fury was making that promise, Soren was the first one that stepped up and turned into a human. Obviously she's Talos' wife. But yeah, that's obviously going to be, like, Gaia is the key to, like, bridging everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Fury and Talos are both, like, essentially kind of like old men that are, like, susceptible to, like, I mean, I wouldn't be crazy surprised if, like, this show ends with, like, Nick Fury dead.
I wouldn't be crazy surprised at this point either.
Because it's not going to be like, oh, season 2 of Secret Invasion.
They've already shown us a weaker, sort of semi-incapacitated version of him.
Yeah.
So he's clearly on the downswing.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, you know what? I almost actually now that I say that, I almost feel like it's like a solid prediction to think that Fury is both Talos and Fury sacrificing themselves for their planets, for their people. You know,
could happen.
Whatever is going to be I was saying, Gaia could be the bridge. Whatever is going to be the thing that makes them live in peace.
She's the future, effectively. This endeavor.
I mean, because then at the end you would envision the yes, the Skrulls do get a planet and it's Earth, and we're happy to have them here.
Yeah.
That would be the we don't. The whole argument was sort of that can't happen,
right?
But it can. It's just people to stop being.
And I mean, if you think about this again, it's very, very on the nose. But we have plenty of refugee crises in the real world that present similar problems where people are sort of saying, we don't want them, we don't want, immigrant populations coming in here or whatever. This is a very, very similar scenario that the Skrulls find themselves in right now.
It was also kind of interesting how that high table scenario where you're kind of expecting it to be like everybody give their vote, which kind of was the scenario, but it didn't work the way we're used to democracy working. Like the lady was like
the British Prime Minister, she stood up and said submit or else.
Submit. Yeah. So it was just sort of like, oh, I guess in Skrull world you basically just say how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Everybody has to kind of follow it.
Yeah.
So well, I mean, the stakes are still high. The scene with Maria Hill's mother, I mean, it's just
that was heartbreaking.
Where I was like, the weight that she's putting on Nick Fury right now,
he's already dealing with so much
personal guilt now. He's got to deal with this personal, he's got this professional weight and he's got this personal weight.
And also sort of the weight of the fate of the world.
Yeah, literally. Meanwhile, even his best friends and Rhodey are just Rhodey's firing him. It's just Nick Fury, man. What's this guy got?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Guys, I think same as last week where it's very this isn't reaction heavy. There's a couple moments in there where we're like, ooh, but for the most part,
it's more of a slow burn. It's
very
really,
much so.
But it's really intense. And I mean, I find myself incredibly engrossed and engaged in both of the episodes.
Yeah, there were even a couple of scenes in this episode specifically where I was like, wow, man, the acting, bravo. Samuel L. Jackson brought it in a couple scenes where it was just this
Don Cheadle, man, always.
Yeah. That scene between Rhodey and Fury was a really well acted scene. Yeah. Particularly Don Cheadle, because it was just very like the way that they were talking about their heritage and that they're sharing. They're both black men, but he was able to separate that from professional. There's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
And the acting was Samuel L. Jackson he's a good actor. He brought it a couple times. So yeah, I'm in. The stakes are high. And you know that the intensity is just right around the corner because there's so much tension between everybody and who's loyal to who, where what's gonna happen. It's just very it feels like this ticking time bomb that's gonna go off. So many different things can happen. And really, they showed sort of whatever machine Gravik is having built with that scientist that was,
Dr.
were
Dalton.
talking about a harvest, and we're assuming that means the powers
harvesting DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too. So that's going to lead to Super Skrull. Whether or not Super Skrull, I don't know. I feel like that's a character that they'd want to keep. So maybe Gravik will last past this. I don't know. It's there's 6 episodes. We're already done 2, and they're an hour each. So there's plenty of time left for stuff.
A lot of balls in the air currently. So
yeah. Looking forward to it, guys. We'd like to hear what you thought about this episode in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see the reaction fully unedited. Go over to patreon.com/Jedi. Check it out. We'll see you in the next reaction.
Peace.
Peace.